Good day, everybody, and welcome to episode 4 of Backroads USA Podcast and Tour. So I had my episode 4 all planned out with the Helicopter Museum up in Westchester, Pennsylvania, and my interview with my buddy Bert Gower, the former horse hauler, and then I had a little hiccup. I had a glitch in the matrix, so to speak, and I've got to redo the whole entire thing. But anyway, last night on my way back from Arkansas, we had a real cool little trip down there. I stopped down in the Trucker G's hometown, and G came out, picked me up, went by the house to say hi to Mrs. G and the family, and then he sat down in the coming home coach with me, and we did just a great sit-down conversation. I had a blast, good time telling old trucker stories and talking about things in the industry. So that's going to be today's podcast, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So hop on and come along for the ride. Hey everybody, we're here in the Coming Home Coach tonight, and I am proud and honored to have, he's like a brother to me, my buddy Trucker G is here with us.
How you doing, guys? How you doing?
So G, man, we don't get to see each other a whole lot. It seems like truck shows is pretty much it. We talk a lot on the phone, and guys, I want you to know, Trucker G owns the For Truckers by Truckers, and he did all the web design for us. When we kind of got into this whole podcast thing, I was in so far over my head, I had no idea what I was doing. And G came up and offered to help me get things rolling, and he built our website and did a great job on it. And honest to God, I don't think we'd be doing any of this right now if it wouldn't have been for him. So both he and I have been in this industry for a long, long time, and we just wanted to sit here and share some stories tonight about where we are today, how we got here, and what it's been like for the last 40 years of doing it. So G, I know talking earlier, we were talking about some things, and so you started trucking. Not because you had it directly in your family, but you said you had an uncle that used to come up and pull up with the truck in the yard, and that was kind of your leading and your inspiration.
Yeah, he had a hopper bottom, and
yeah,
you know, the hopper bottoms, you get a kid in the hopper bottom, we'll slide down those things all day long.
Right. So it's one of those things that when you get into trucking, it is, I always joke about it being like the mafia. You get in, you can't get out, and that's pretty much what it is. It's you get inspired in it, and it's just something that gets a hold of you. So, G, when you first started driving, when you first got out on the road, did you get that gypsy feeling that you just needed to be on the road all the time?
After I got over the fear.
The fear, yeah, okay.
I was that driver that had no business out there.
Right. and he and I were talking about this earlier. I remember in my early days starting, I was intimidated by pulling into a truck stop because I'd be afraid to back into a spot because of people watching me, and not getting it right. And guys, there's a lot of new drivers out here, and mentorship is something that seems to have kind of gotten lost along the way.
I think a lot of us veteran drivers forget about that fear that we all felt at one time.
Exactly.
I don't care if you're with your daddy or not. You were afraid of your daddy was going to smack your hand when you got into that gear, were you not?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
At some point, there was that fear.
Yeah, and guys, we all had to get that start. Every one of us had to get that start, man. And none of us started this out, no matter how much experience you had in your family, no matter how much your dad traded. Once you got out there by yourself, it was all you.
It's a whole new ballgame.
Yeah, it was all you. and you didn't want to look like a dumbass trying to back into a parking spot someplace.
I always managed.
So you'd avoid it. You'd rest areas or pull through spots, and but then eventually, you get somebody sees you doing wrong, and they walk over and they go, "Hey, man, let me help you. Let me show you a better way to do that."
You know what the great thing back then was, John?
What's that?
And you'll agree with me. We didn't have cell phones.
No, we didn't have cell phones.
So we didn't video the guy that was having trouble. We actually got out of our truck and went up and helped.
Exactly.
And you'd have 3 or 4 guys out there helping.
Exactly. Doing the rock and roll shows like we do, you always have a lead driver that helps you get back in. And a lot of guys are like, "Well, I know how to back my truck in." Yeah, of course you know how to back your truck in. Okay, but
you know how to dive back into this dock.
Well, and we're doing this in a limited time frame. We can't wait for you to make adjustments and everything. Plus, you got people walking around all over the place. You got coaches that are worth millions of dollars, and sometimes you're backing in so close to them.
I've seen some of the stuff you guys back into. That's impressive.
So you have a lead driver on the ground that is watching you and helping you out on the radio and making sure that you're good, because it all has to happen really fast, right? So, in the many times over the years that I have been a lead driver, you really learn by doing. So when you're backing somebody in, you get kind of good at it, whether you want to or not. You get kind of good at it, and you see things from a different perspective.
It makes you better too, because now you're seeing things behind the wheel that you didn't see.
It
before.
does, but it puts things in perspective. So I remember one night out in Ontario with the TA out there. Well, the one that's the Petro.
That's where I learned how to drive, John.
Was it? Okay,
yes, sir.
And this poor young man he was struggling trying to get in one of the spots up there. You know where the pallets are up at the end. He's trying to get in one of those diagonal shots up there, and it was just beating him up, man. And I was just walking out of the truck stop. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. Somebody had pulled out, so he sees an opportunity. He's going to grab it, right? And I'm watching this poor guy, and he's just hammering away at it. So I walked over there, and I said, "Hey, man," I said, "can I help you out a little bit?" And he goes, "Would you?" And he started to set the brakes. I go, "No." I said, "You're going to drive it." I said, "You just listen to what I tell you." I said, "Give me your cell phone number." So he gives me his number, and I call him up real quick. I said, "You got your earbud in?" "Yes, sir." I said, "I just do what I tell you." And I slid him right in there, you know. And he got out and he shook my hand. And he goes, "Hey, I appreciate that." And he goes, I said, "I do this for a living." I said, "I work in rock and roll. We have to help each other out." Like, exactly. And he goes, "Well, they didn't show me any of this in school." And I go, "Well, that's a problem." I said, "But pay attention to what you're seeing out here. Pay attention to what other people are doing and learn from it."
Yes.
I said, the biggest part of backing up is your setup. And I said, I see guys all the time, rookie drivers come into a truck stop where they have a wide spot where they can pull around and back straight into that spot, and I'll see them 90 it in there. And I'm sitting there thinking, why are you working so hard at this?
Get a good setup and fix your mistake. That's the key to backing.
Take your setup and get straightened out, man. Yeah, so... guys, I don't know why my computer, I think it's trying to shoot this face find at me, and it's just looking all over the place. So G's out.
I think it's the man. He's trying to zoom in to get a retina
right,
scan of me.
Right,
you know, you never know with these flock cameras.
Yeah, exactly. There's a story.
Where's the tinfoil?
There's a story for another day. So once you got started out here, Tell me a little bit about your career. What avenues did you run through? Were you a van guy or a reefer guy?
I was a reefer for 28 years, John.
Oh, bless your heart.
Believe me, if I'd have known about drive-in like I did later on, I'd have went to that, believe me.
Yeah.
But I'm a door swinger.
Right.
I first started off, my main run was running, I actually run 15 Western back in the day. I did a lot of Napa Valley stuff.
Okay.
And that company, after a month in that company, they went under.
Okay.
Gave me just enough fuel to get back to the company, and turn the truck in. Gave me a letter of recommendation to another company.
And that was it.
Then my next run was Hunts Point excuse my language, Hunts Point every 2 weeks.
Oh, you
I'd run Hunts Point, Washington State, back down to Phoenix, Arizona, and I'd run that triangle.
Wow.
Every 2 weeks.
Well, so Washington State, you were
as hard as I could.
One of those apple haulers, weren't you?
Yes, sir.
Yep. Yeah, the crazy apple haulers coming down 15 at about 200 miles an hour down the hill. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I used to have those guys bless me. You used to have a little apple on the back door, and man, you'd be coming down the hill down out of Snowville, coming down towards Ogden. And man, them guys had just smoked me like that. I mean, I thought I was really out there hammering. Those guys just shoot by me like I sit up on blocks, man. Yeah, I remember those guys. My buddy Corky, one of my mentors when I started doing this, he ran produce in California for years.
Yeah, a lot of produce.
And then got tired of the California deal, and he had a deal with Schaefer Oil out of St. Louis.
Okay, yeah.
And they actually put Schaefer Oil on the side of his trailer, and he'd run out of St. Louis, out of Schaefer Oil, and he'd drop off in he'd drop in place up in Idaho. I can't remember where in Idaho. Because I used to see him up at the stage stop in Boise all the time. Yeah. Then he'd run up into Moses Lake. I think his last drop was usually up around Moses Lake, Washington. Then he'd go get apples back down to the St. Louis market. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oil up, apples back. I'm not sure how all that works, but I guess they cleaned the trailer out the right way. I don't know. But yeah, he had a big old 379 Peterbilt, 301 wheelbase, which to me back then that thing was huge.
I never did have the pretty trucks. I always had. I started off in an International Eagle.
Right, yeah. Well, I look back to where I started at. You know, that old man that I drove for in St. Louis, hauling scrap. It was kind of funny because, like, you get the old rail trailers, you know, the ones that they used at the rail yard, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The old 45-footers. And then they'd wear them out. and then the freight haulers would buy them,
And then you get
and
them.
then they completely ragged them out, and then my boss would buy them.
You get the junk. Yeah.
And then but the tractors that we had, and I used to be jealous because when I started driving for him, I'd see the nicer trucks that guys were driving. I'm out there in this old '73 Transtar or this '81 Freightliner cab over, and everything's just held together with tape and baling wire. But man, I look back on those days now, and it was probably the best experience that I could have had.
You know what I was told my
Because
students?
we had to fix everything. I mean, stuff broke on the
You
road.
learned.
We didn't have all the. I'm not going to say shops weren't out there, but they did. Guys didn't go into the shops for the kind of stuff they go in today. I mean, man, you had a tail light or a headlight or whatever went out. Back then all the tail lights were just the 4-inch lenses with the steel ring that you'd snap out, pop your 1157 bulb in there, and go down the road. But so much of the stuff, that would quit working on the road, we fixed it.
Yeah, and if you didn't have it, the guy behind it, they'd actually
exactly,
stop.
yeah.
No, but I remember cops actually stopping and helping out.
Yeah,
I mean, hell, I blew one of those air fittings, the screws out of the air governor.
Right, yeah.
It blew out of there. I didn't have a bolt. We're out in the middle of Idaho, matter of fact, of all places.
Right. Yep.
No CB. The only communication we had was CB.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And I had all kinds of drivers. Hey, you need me to get hold of your dispatch? Yeah, go ahead and get a hold of them. Hopefully, I can get somebody out here with something.
Right. Yeah.
Well, cop shows up, comes out there. We look at it together. He goes back to his house, goes into his garage, gets me a bolt, comes back out there, gets me back on the road.
I told you we were camped down there at Mountain Grove down there, or Mountain View down at that campground down there. And the people I was camped next to, their son, 11 years old, nailed a water spigot with a golf cart last night.
No.
So his dad and the guy that owns the campground, they're out there in the middle of the night trying to replace it.
I'd be out there. I like plumbing.
The water was shut off for the entire campground.
Lord.
So, and this kid, he
felt bad.
He felt really bad, because everybody was kind of razzing him and everything. And I said, all right, buddy. I said, I'm going to share a story with you. I said, and I haven't told this story very much, and now I'm getting ready to tell it to everybody. But it's a good story. So back in the day,
You got your pen and paper, guys?
yeah, exactly. So when you rolled into a town and you were looking for an address, you jump on the radio, and there was always some trucker's wife or somebody local info.
Yeah, local.
All right, somebody was sitting with a base station all night. So I jumped on, and I was sitting. I'm just gonna say a town in Iowa,
Gotcha.
a town, okay. And I'm sitting there at this 4-way stop sign, and we had just gotten
for protection of those of the innocent.
exactly. We had just gotten our very first 48-foot trailers. So, I mean, because when I started, it was 40s and 42s.
That's what you were saying,
Then we got the 45s, which our first 45s, remember the old Stuffy Smith Company, we called them?
Yeah.
Those were our first 45s, were
Oh, wow.
Smith trailers. And then we got some 48s. So I'm sitting here with my first trip with a 48-foot trailer.
Big dog.
All right? I'm at this intersection, and this lady comes on the radio, and she tells me to turn on such and such a street. Well, I'm at this intersection, but I'm in the right lane. It's 2-lane road. Well, I remembered when I rolled up to the intersection, there was a telephone pole, and there was a newspaper machine, which those you don't see anymore.
No,
but there
you
was
don't.
a newspaper machine sitting there, but they were kind of set back off the corner a little. Well, what I didn't see was the black fire hydrant that was painted with the silver top on it. And I snuck around that corner, swung for all I had, and I just felt a little chunk. And I looked back, and water was shooting way up in the air. And I'm just like, man, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. My ass is out of here. And I kept on going. So
That's why we didn't name the city.
Yeah, so I told.
You're not sure about the statute of limitations?
I have no idea, but I own it. I did it, But I told that kid last night. I said, "Don't feel bad." I said, "Things happen, man."
We all make stupid decisions.
We all make
when we're
stupid.
younger.
Yes. I said that was one of mine. That was. Oh my God, that was a long time ago. I was like, well, the first 48-foot trailer, that ought to tell you something.
Yeah.
So, and I wasn't used to all that extra. That's my excuse. I wasn't used to all that trailer being back there.
That was right about the time they went from square wheels to round wheels.
Oh,
Wasn't it,
bite
Tom?
me. I remember when the 53s came out, my buddy Corky, he was over there, and he was leased to CB Sohn over there in St. Charles area, right? And CB Sohn always had a reputation for next day.
Gotcha.
You come out of St. Louis on Friday, LA on Saturday. That was just who they were. And I remember they had gotten some, and Corky had his own 48-foot reefer, but old Charlie Sohn had asked him to hook onto a 53 and dock it one day. And Corky had this big old stretched out 379 Peterbilt. He hooks onto that trailer, and swings around the yard, and he backs up, and man, I mean, he slammed that building. I mean, he just railed that trailer into that building. Well, Corky, he just gets out and walks up, stands there, and goes, "Well, M53 sure do get to the dock in a hurry, don't they?"
Yeah, they do, don't they?
Yeah, yeah. So okay, back to where we're at. So you were a reefer guy for pretty much
Yeah, most of my
forever.
career. Most
Now,
of my
when I
career.
met you, you were doing dry van, I believe.
Yep.
So you had made
I
a
had
change.
just started driving.
You decided you were sick of motorized trailers.
Yep.
I get that. I've had a lot of friends of mine that have made a living doing that, and I'm like, man, how do you guys have the patience to deal with those buyers and the assholes?
That's how I
man?
learned what I learned in, so
Right.
I got good at it.
I get that. You know, that's one of the things in entertainment. I've been doing that for so many years. You know, the shows, the concerts, and everything. And my buddy Barry, here a couple of years ago, we were getting ready to go out on tour with a band. It was just a little 2-truck tour, and we needed another truck, and everybody was busy. So my guy asked me, he said, "Can you get a driver?" So I called Barry up, and I said, "Hey, you want to do this?" And he goes, "I'd love to do it, man." So, you know, I told him how everything worked, and we were out in California, so he had to go do some different gear pickups at different places. And he calls me up, and he goes, "Man, I totally get why you do this."
Yeah.
And I go, "Why?" He goes, "Every place that I go, they're like happy to see me." He said they're nice to me. He said they got donuts and bagels.
Want you to come in.
And he goes,
That
"Man,"
truckers.
he goes, "This is awesome, man." I go, "Well, yeah." I said, it's you know, doing entertainment. I said, it's like a big family, you know. I said, and you may be with different guys on a crew, and you may not see those guys maybe for a year or something. You know,
Mhm.
maybe you're with this band together, and you know, but then you get on this tour, and you see some of the same guys, and y'all remember. You might not remember each other's names, but you know, you're gonna
But
remember
you
each
remember
other's
each other.
faces. And that's, you know, something I've stressed to anybody that, you know, Sean especially, you know, teaching somebody else new, is I said, man, when you get out here, make a name for yourself. I said, and make sure it's a good one.
Yeah.
I said, you can screw things up really quick out here. Bad attitude, sloppy dress, bad appearance, bad demeanor. I said, you can make a bad name for yourself, and it's hard to get rid of that bad name. I said, but if you make a good name for yourself, man, you show up, you're willing to help, you're cooperative, you're nice, those people are going to remember that. And I said, that is going to stay with you your entire career.
Or just do like I do, show up looking handicapped and they feel sorry for you and you get by. No, just kidding.
Well, you know, I remember something my dad used to always say to me that has really stood out over the years. And he said, if you want to do better than the other guy, you got to be better than the other
You
guy.
have to.
You have to leave them
What
with
sets you apart?
something. Yeah, you have to leave them with something that they're going to remember.
Yep.
You know, man, you don't have to do anything. You know, if you keep your equipment, and these days, it seems like just doing your job is almost, it makes you extra now, you know. But you
That
show
ain't
up,
a lie.
you keep your equipment looking good. Make sure your appearance is right when you go in. You know, don't go in there in, you know, slides or flip flops or sweatpants or pajama pants or a food stained T-shirt. I mean, I get it. We're all working and we all get dirty. And man, if you want to drive your truck down the road all day, looking like you're homeless or whatever, that's on you, man. But man, when you walk,
I think I cut out a little bit. There we go.
when you walk into the customer, make sure you make an appearance. And something I know, this is probably going to get some people are going to complain about this, but I firmly believe in this. When you go into a truck stop or something, or a diner to get dinner, man, make yourself look decent, because you're representing the industry when you go in there. You know, nobody likes the image and the reputation that the truck driver has these days. The pride has kind of been sucked out of our job, you know. But until we do something ourselves to change that, it's not going to get any better.
No, it's up to us.
You know, and if you want respect, we're at the point now where you got to earn it. We know we've got to go out and get it now.
And we got to hold each other accountable.
Yeah, yes,
to each
we
other.
do. We do.
Also,
And it's not that hard to just you know, treat your profession like it's your profession.
yeah, right.
It all goes back to that. If you want to be better than the other guy, you got to do better than the other guy.
Yep.
You know, or gal. I'm not meaning to leave anybody out here.
At the end of the day, guys, I don't care if
Yeah.
you got a chest or not, you're a guy to me.
Yeah, yeah. It's just you know, I think every truck driver out here wants to feel a little bit more needed and respected than what we get from the general public these days.
But I think we need to earn it a little more.
Yeah, we do. We do need to earn
than
it.
what we have been showing.
Yeah,
we need to go back to where we used to once be, or once strive to be.
You know, when I started, when you started, that whole nice of the highway thing was still going on. You
Yeah.
know, if somebody was on the side of the road, you pulled over to help them change a tire or something. It's not that they expected it, but they kind of knew it was going to happen.
No, I
you know?
will play a little devil's advocate
Yeah.
here, John, because you're gonna have a few guys. Because as much as that I've done social media, I know how this goes.
Right.
You're gonna have a few guys that drove back then the same time as we did, and say it wasn't like that when I was there. Well, if it wasn't like that, it's your fault. What did you do to not pursue it?
Yeah. To
If
keep
it wasn't
going.
what you
yeah.
wanted it to be,
Yeah.
why didn't you make it what it should be?
Right. Yeah.
It's up to each one of us to make trucking what it should be.
Well, because I remember riding with Dad, and I've seen my dad change more than one tire for a woman that was broke down on the side of the road or something, or
100%.
stop to help them out. So I just kind of felt like when I started doing that was something that I needed to carry on. I needed to keep that going.
Mhm.
Now I get it. One of the big things that you and I both hear today. Well, one driver won't stop for another driver anymore. Okay.
And I get the liability stuff. That's what these companies teach.
And plus, I mean, now technology has changed a lot.
You're right.
Everybody has a cell phone now. All right. When I see a driver sitting on the side of the road, even in really bad weather conditions,
Mhm.
I'm not near as concerned about him as I was 25 years ago.
Yeah, as far as
Okay.
being stuck out there.
Yeah, as far as not having
Back in the day, it was life or death survival.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Some of the places.
You think back to when we started driving. If you came upon a bad accident, 1-2 o'clock in the morning, all right, yeah, you were the first one there.
Mhm.
All right, there was a procedure here. You went and you tried to render first aid as best you could, if it was within your abilities. You got on the CB. You started trying to get somebody raised, and if you couldn't get somebody raised, you actually waited until the next car came along and said, "Hey, I remember there was a farmhouse about 1.5 miles back on the left-hand side. Can you go down there and try to wake somebody up and get them on the phone?
Yeah.
To use their phone." And it was different back then. Probably a lot of people died because we don't have the ability to get responders out there that we do today. Because it was like that. If you came up on a really bad accident, there was no contact immediate help. It was, like I said, trying to get somebody on React on the CB, or else wait until the next car came along and say, "Hey, go find a farmhouse or go find a house and see if you can wake somebody up."
Yeah.
And use their phone. And that's probably weird for a lot of people to even try to grasp that today, because everything is so just instant now. Something bad happens, you're on the phone and 911, and it's you got somebody rolling. But it didn't used to be like that. A lot of times, driving a truck,
We were the first responders.
well, you were the first on the scene more
We
than
carried
once.
white sheets in our truck.
More than once, you were the first on the scene, and it's just the way it was. It was just part of the
Mhm.
job.
I was actually, before I started driving, I was first aid and CPR trained back then.
Okay, yeah.
So I made sure I stopped at every accident. I don't know how many times I actually
Right.
put the training into use.
Dude, I remember that's something that'll never leave me more than a couple times.
Yeah, I mean,
Holding somebody's hand, going,
And-
hey, hang
and
on,
you
somebody's
always-
coming,
what always gets me, and I wonder till this day, did they make it? And you tell yourself they did. I tell myself.
I know a couple that didn't, because
Yeah.
I was with them, But yeah, that's a grim side of the
Yeah.
of the lifestyle, but it was just part of it.
Part
It was
of
just part of it, And still, I
And
look
we were aware of it.
very aware of it. Yeah, I look back on this 40-year career of driving trucks, and I have zero regrets. Zero. I have seen more of this country than most people will see in their entire lives.
My biggest regret is not making enough friends out on the road. You don't have that trouble, John.
Well, I
I
get
was a
it,
quiet
man.
person. I was an introvert.
Well, I was for years. I
Yeah.
was for years. I stayed to myself, Honestly, it's like we were talking about earlier. I didn't do the truck shows and stuff, until I met Tony Justice, And I mean, I knew a lot of people out here on the road, but through Tony's network, I got to know you through Tony.
Yeah.
People like Gary Jones and just some of the
You start finding the family. in
yeah,
the
some of the
industry.
great people out there. We all met through. A lot of us met each other through Tony's network. So hats off, Tony Justice, man. You helped a lot of people out.
He's
here.
all right. He's
Yeah,
okay.
he's all right.
He's okay.
Yeah, I heard that he almost can be a singer too. I'm not sure, but yeah. So sorry, Tony, you hit on you a little bit there, but so I don't know, man. It's been a really cool career, and I try to help younger guys out here. It's
and we need to.
yeah, and guys, all of us, all of you that are out there in our age group, we're getting a little long in the tooth. The Scooter, you don't need to be coming.
I know
up
a lot
here.
of us are getting bitter about it, but at the end of the day, these new drivers are driving with our families out there.
Exactly. And I know we've seen a lot of things. Bush, y'all, Scooter is trying to get in the
Scooter
podcast
said he wants
tonight.
on.
Yeah, he's trying to get up on
Nobody.
this podcast here tonight. I don't know. Over time, there's been a lot of people that have got into this industry that probably shouldn't be in the industry.
It's not for everybody.
In our views, at one time, this job was a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that's really
It
changed.
wasn't a job. Yeah.
No, and I think one of the biggest changes in here, and one of the most detrimental changes to the industry, has been it has become just a paycheck.
Yeah.
And like when we started this, our safety record was important to us. That was drilled into us.
And it should be.
Your annual safety record, not having a crash for the year and getting another, and then getting your first 1,000,000 miles, your second 1,000,000 miles, your 3,000,000 miles without an accident. And to me, that was always kind of the goal of the job, was to get out here and do this every day. Just do it every day without taking somebody out. I saw a social media post the other day, and I probably shouldn't bring this up, but I'm going to. It was a younger female driver, and she's well on her way to being an influencer, I'm sure.
Gotcha.
And she made a comment on there about people that can't merge and people that cut her off, and et cetera, all the things that a truck driver deals with every
Talking about
day.
four-wheelers, right?
Yeah, four-wheelers, yeah.
The vehicles that she should be driving.
Right, yeah.
As a truck driver, we should be driving their vehicle for them.
Right, yeah. So she was really complaining about this, about how she has actually no sympathy and no willingness to give room to these people. All right? Now, I get this, and I know you get it.
Out of frustration, the frustration part I get.
We feel it every
But
day.
The professional driver
The
side.
professional driver. This is our job, man. This is what we do.
Yes.
All right? We are supposed to be the safe and courteous ones. Now, what really bothered me about this post was all the comments that were 100% with her.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? And I get it, because we all feel it every day.
The four-wheeler is the enemy.
But the job is safety and courtesy. So I'm going to tell a story here.
Yeah.
Coming across I-10 one night down in Arizona, and I had a guy in a big old Peterbilt running behind me, and we were keeping pace. We were talking on the radio, a couple little things back and forth, but not much. Now we're strolling 78, 80 miles an hour, just riding. So I'm coming up on a Swift truck. So I move out to the left lane. Well, as soon as I move out to the left lane, I see up ahead there is a big truck on the shoulder with the hood up, and I can see the driver outside. So I back off the throttle. I pick up the mic. Hey, Swift, come on out. No response. All right. So I flip my lights 3 or 4 times. He never looks out the mirror. All right. So I'm back here. I got the guy in the Peterbilt. Now he's kind of crawling up my ass a little bit. And I got the Swift truck in the right lane, big truck on the shoulder. Swift never moves to the left. All right. But he had room too. I made sure he had room the whole time. Guy in the Peterbilt gets on my ass on the radio. Hey, big old KW, what'd you back off for? I said, that's big truck on the shoulder. He says, yeah, but you should have known that Swift wasn't going to move over. I go, okay, yeah, I can't argue with you. I can't disagree with you. I said, but let me just ask you a question, man. I said, if that was you on the shoulder, I said, you're out there working on like the battery side of your truck, okay? So you're down there close to the line, and you look up, and here comes Swift, dusting the line. And here comes this big old large car out in the hammer lane sitting right next to Swift. I said, who you got to be pissed off at when you look up at the traffic?
Yep.
I said, you ain't going to be pissed off at the Swift. You're going to be pissed off at the guy that's keeping Swift over in that right lane. I said, buddy, I said, I'm not trying to be hard to get along with. I said, and so much has changed in this industry over the years. But the one thing that hasn't changed is the job.
I just never understood the hurry.
The job is still the same, man. There's certain things you do. You know, you let a big truck out when he needs to come out. You make a spot for the guys on the
Yes.
shoulder over there.
It makes things go quicker.
You treat your brother drivers with respect, even though a lot of them aren't really our brothers these days. But the job has not changed.
But we must treat each other that way.
You have to, because at the end of the day, the job is the same. A lot of other shit's changed, but the job hasn't changed. And you know, here now I'm going to run off on another tangent here now. Everybody says they don't want to have a CB in their truck because they hate all the crap that's on the CB. All right.
Our problem right now is because we don't have.
Let me tell you something. All the years that we trucked out here, the reason that things flowed so smoothly is because we communicated with each other on the road.
Imagine that.
You know, you see a big truck climbing the hill. All right. And he's coming up hot on
Bring
the
it on
guy
out.
in
Bring it
front
on
of him.
out.
Yeah. Jump on the radio. Hey, come on out there.
Yeah.
And if he says, or he might come back on the radio and say, "No, go ahead, man. I've already lost it."
It was
All
a
right?
whole choreo.
Bingo, man.
It's
Everybody
choreography.
communicated. Now everybody gets out here and gets all road raged up and shit. They get all pissed off at each other because they have no idea what the other driver is trying to accomplish.
Yes.
And you know, I mean, truck stops. This one kills me now. You be sitting like you know me. I run at nights. All right?
Mhm.
So 10, 11 o'clock, man, I got the lights all turned on. I got the engine warming up and everything, and I see a guy come in circling the lot. All right. All I got to do is pick up the microphone and go, "Hey, man, you need a spot? I got
Yeah,
the
I'm getting ready to
perfect
pull
one.
out."
I'm ready to pull out."
Don't even know.
Crickets, man. None of them got a radio on. They're all just driving around the lot, and it's like, dude, you could be backing in right now, man. Hey, Scooter, you can't be
Guest
part.
appearance.
You can't be part of the podcast tonight, man. Get down.
Special guest appearance.
Get down. So, all right. Well, he's not going to cooperate with this.
Scooter's just part of it.
Sorry, G. Yeah, I guess Scooter's going to be a star tonight.
That's all right. We like that, don't we?
But no, the whole CB communication. It's not just about the junk that's on the radio. It's a necessity out here. It really
Yes.
is. You know.
You're gonna take advantage of me,
yeah,
because we're on
he's-
camera.
He's figured out he can get away with being a pest tonight. So, but you know, and I know we're not gonna change the world and talk people into getting CBs back in their trucks again. But it was just so much easier when everybody was running them. You know.
I carried three. Always carried three CBs.
Yeah.
You always carried the one to use.
Yeah.
You carried the one for a spare, and I always carried one for trade.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I'm going to get Scooter out of the picture here. I'm going to get a little handful of food down here and see if we can't get
Scooter
him.
ain't no dummy.
Get somewhat distracted. Here you go, buddy.
He played you.
He did. Yeah,
you just got played.
He's got this game figured out. He knows. So anyway, back to where we're at. CBs, trucking. Tell us a little bit. I know you said you didn't really want to talk about this, but for truckers, by truckers. Let's hear what you got going on.
For
man.
truckers, by truckers, guys, those are tools for you. We've got profitability calculators. I've got settlement analyzers, because some of these companies, the settlement's that thick. If your settlement's that thick, there's a problem.
Yeah.
And so I build software that'll actually go through there and find any discrepancies for you. Costs you nothing, guys. Cost calculator. Oh, number big thing. Everybody wants to know what's my profit going to be, but nobody can tell you what's the cost to run your truck.
Yes, I know.
So I've got a calculator on there that'll give you a true cost per mile calculator. That way you know what it costs to run your truck, and then you can make smart decisions on what kind of freight to book and what to charge for that
Yes.
freight.
And guys, I got to tell you something. I do know my cost, but I went in and I used this calculator just to see if it would come up. And his software kicks ass. The 7 tools that he has that are free right now, guys, especially right now, post COVID, our operating costs are through the roof. All right, and fuel cost is just it's a big part of what our problem is today, but it's just a piece of the problem. Post COVID, parts, everything has gone through the roof. So guys, it's probably more important now than ever in your career of owning your truck.
The survivors in this industry
yes.
are going to be the guys that pinch the pennies.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and the ones who survive.
Mm-hmm.
I've always said it. If you can make it through the tough times, there's a lot of money on the other side. But you got to be one of the ones that's still out here trucking.
Yes, sir.
And his tools. Anyway, go back to what you were
like
saying.
I said, I built the tools for you guys. Guys, basically what I'm doing right now. Right now, I stay home. I take care of my dad. Dad's got dementia. I'm off the road. I'm building software. If you need a TMS built specifically for your company, let me know. Tell me what you need built. We can build it.
Yeah, like I said, if it wouldn't have been for him, there's no way I'd be doing any of this right now. He did the website and everything and just did a phenomenal job on it. So
What I get is the tech's been building stuff for our industry for a lot of years, and we always complain about it. Why? Because they know nothing about our industry.
right,
So now you got somebody in our industry that's building for our industry. They're going to figure it out. They're going to start building stuff for our industry too, and they are. But guess what's happening on the backside? They're selling your data. I'm not selling your data. I don't want nothing to do with your data. I don't make money off your data. Now I should do it if I believe the same way as they do. But our data should belong to us.
yes, I 100% agree, 100%.
Yes.
Well, it's. I guess the thing that really plays it for you is you're one of us.
100%.
You know, and since you did come off the road, and kudos for coming off the road and taking care of your dad with dementia. That's
What we're
my mom was 10
Take care of
years with Alzheimer's, and it's awful. So I get that.
It's a rough disease.
So
man.
so kudos off to you for doing that. But guys, while he's doing this, he's still helping truckers out here. He may not be out here mentoring right now, but he's still doing stuff out here
Oh,
to
but
take care of
I
his
still
brothers.
get the questions and helps new drivers
Right,
and all
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But as far as being out on the road, I miss it every day. But
I starting this whole bus thing. And we'll kick off on this whole ELD thing for a second. When I got the bus and we started talking about what we were going to do with the podcast and everything, and I'm looking at this as kind of a semi-retirement thing. I mean, I've been out here 40 years. I'm 61 years old. Got a lot of miles underneath my belt, and I'm starting to get a little tired. So, when I took off, was the evening of Christmas Day. That's mom's gone, dad's gone, sister's gone. So this was the first year of Christmas being nobody left. So I made other plans. I came home and I parked the truck at Ashlandville, Ohio, grabbed an Uber because we were going to take the bus over to Brandon's to do all the paint and polish, and I had to go to Fort Wayne to get some generator work done on the bus. So the evening of Christmas Day, I'd been up all day, man. I had the turbo off on this and everything. I was working on that governor and all that crap. We had a beautiful Christmas day in Missouri. And so that evening, I get all the bus packed up and everything, and man, I take off for Fort Wayne, right? Well, I didn't have any electricity in the bus yet, so no coffee maker or anything. So I get over about to Effingham. Now I've been up. Well, I'd driven from Ashland to the house, which was, I don't know, 600 and something miles. Worked all day at the house. Got the bus packed up, took a shower, but still hadn't had a nap, right? So I get over to Effingham. I've been up for quite a spell now. And not to mention, I trucked into Ashland, got a rental car, so had a couple good days going here, right? So I take off and I get over by Effingham, and I'm like, man, I'll go whip in here and get me a cup of coffee and get on up the road. And all of a sudden, I had this weird thought hit me. Go, no, don't stop at Effingham because you haven't met your 8. So you're going to have to take a 30-minute break up the road. And I'm like, what the hell, man? So I'm like, no, John, you're not in the truck. You're not being watched right now, So,
and that slight little curve as you pass in the way stations.
Exactly, yeah. So I actually pulled into Effingham, and I didn't go in and get a cup of coffee. I went in the back and lay down, took a freaking nap, and then got up and got my coffee and went to Fort Wayne. But it was that moment that I realized how, oh my God, I don't even know the right word to use, how regimented we are to being controlled by the system, by the ELD, how we live our lives now to the second.
Oh yeah.
And I was so anti-ELD when these things came out, and that's a story for another day with everything. But I was as anti-ELD as I could be, and I had a 1998 truck which was doing me good, and I was still running, grandfathered in without the ELD, and then I had taken so much doing entertainment. California, Los Angeles, Hollywood, Burbank is a really heavy hitter for me. And I had gotten kicked out of California. I was one of those guys that got caught running a pre-emission truck out there in California. So we ordered Freebird and built Freebird. Well, when I did that, I had to go to an ELD. And that was almost the deciding factor on whether or not I bought a new truck. Was that damn ELD, that and the emissions bullshit, But I bit the bullet because I wanted to get back into that side of the industry. I was losing so much work. I was losing over $60,000-$70,000 a year by taking California off of.
Yeah.
Now I get it. There's a lot of guys out here.
That's where I made most of my living.
There's a lot of guys that don't go to California, and they don't need to go to California, and I get that, man. But when you're in entertainment
or produce,
yeah, California's a heavy hitter for you, So I bit the bullet, and I got my little ELD, and I got my emission controlled truck and everything, and it's been good. But like I said, that night I got in the bus and took off, and automatically my mind went to, oh shit, you can't stop yet because you got to stop again
Well,
and
you got
take
to
a
where
30-minute break.
you can't even make a living going to California
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah. So, and anyway, and I think that's one of the things that I have enjoyed the most about driving this bus is the freedom of it. It takes me back to my early days of trucking when it was just you and the steering
Something about
wheel
that wheel
and
in the road.
Yes,
The wheel in the road.
Oh my God,
And the vibration on the ass.
I,
Excuse my language.
I feel a peace and tranquility driving this bus that I haven't felt in driving that truck for a lot of years. And I swear to God, dude, when I get in this bus, I'm pretty sure my heart rate and my blood pressure both go down, man. I really think they do. I really think they do. So, what else you want to talk about, man?
Hell, I don't even know what else to say, John. I've talked more to you tonight than I have to anybody in a long time, to be honest with you.
Well, I think we can wrap it up by saying,
with Dad having dementia, it seems like I have the same conversations every single day.
I hear that.
And I'm glad to have them.
Well, that's something else I worry about because that was, my mom's dad, and they say it's generational.
Yeah.
So I'm 60.
And I'm forgetting stuff, and I'm starting to think, do I have it?
Yeah, I know.
I'm a little bit of a hypochondriac.
It makes me paranoid sometimes because I'm 61 now, and I'm like,
heck, I can't even see a pregnancy commercial on TV. The pill commercials.
Oh yeah.
Something about pregnancy. Hell, I thought I was pregnant the other night. You have irritable bowels? Yes, I do. Kind of like the Cheeto thing on Ron White. You know?
Yeah, damn right. Yeah, damn right. So I don't know. I think, and we can wrap this up pretty quick here, but looking back at our trucking career, and I'm thankful, and I'm sure you are too, that we started when we did, so we can see a side of it that we can still talk about and have a lot of good memories about.
What gets me is we talk about the good old days of trucking.
Right.
One of these days, people are going to talk about the good old days of trucking
and it's going to be today.
No,
it can't be. This can't
I hope
be.
not.
It's kind of fun with Sean training right now because most of the people that I run around with are people like me. They're people that have been doing this, like you've been doing it a long time, and so we have a lot of stories to tell. And that does kind of make me feel good because at least he'll have the memory and have those stories that maybe he can tell on down the road. Maybe as a third party or third person or whatever, but
Sean gives me faith in the younger generation.
Yes,
because so many of us older guys, and I got guilty of it too, is we get one of the young guys, I don't need your help, I know everything basically, and then we forget there's 5 other guys out there, or girls like you said,
right.
That actually want our help, but they're too afraid to ask.
Because
they're afraid we're going to bite their head off.
Exactly. And it's funny because in the world that we live in, and I knew this was probably he was gonna get attracted to the entertainment side of things, and so he spends a lot of time back there in the trailer with me. He knows how to load a pack, and it's like when they're rolling cases, if hot dog or hamburger, which way you turn in the case, and he knows all the lingo and everything. So he knows more about touring trucks than probably a lot of the new rookies do. Man, he knows how to load a trailer. He knows flat pack or twos, or he's learned all the lingo and everything. So when he does eventually, and Freebird's going to be his. He already knows that, And I told him, I said, I don't expect you to truck Freebird full time. You get whatever truck you want. I said, but stick her in the barn someplace. I said, keep her. I said, because
they're out there running.
I said, you figure one of these days, I said, 50 years from now, if you still got that thing, she's going to be a showpiece, man.
Don't let her sit too long. That's for damn sure, Sean.
She'll be a showpiece one of these days. So I think he's going to have a good career out here. He has concerns, like probably any driver today, about autonomous trucks and everything else that's changing, And
we all should be concerned.
Well, and autonomous trucks are coming, no doubt. I was watching the morning show with John Testa here a couple weeks ago, and Matt, the guy that is on with him and Brandon in the morning show, he said something that I still can't think about it without laughing. They were talking about the autonomous trucks, and he goes, my robot vacuum cleaner can't make it through my living room without fucking up. He goes, and now they're going to try it with an 80,000-pound truck. Excuse my language there. But what a great point. What a great point. When you guys figure out how to get the vacuum cleaner to make it over the threshold, then let's make the 80,000-pound truck autonomous.
The
Okay.
way I look at it is, AI can generate you a picture, but it can't make you art.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that's the same thing with trucks.
Exactly.
It can drive that truck, but can it be safe and do it in the artistry a driver does
Right.
it? And I'm not saying that just because I am a driver. I'd say that just because I've watched other drivers and I've seen guys much better than I am, and these guys are artists.
Right.
They can tell you exactly what cylinders out on that truck just by the sound of the film. I'm not that good.
I saw a clip where they put the other night. This something
That was
popped up
just
on
me
social
trying to find an
media.
example.
I got you. They had a reporter from CNN got in this autonomous truck with the monitor driver
Mhm.
and the guy who's the techie, the important guy,
Gotcha.
right? And the techie guy, as he's sitting over there in the passenger seat, is going, well, these trucks don't have to have, or they don't have to have rest, and they detect this and they see this and they can do this and they can do this. And he said, we're looking at having, and it was a huge number of these trucks on the road by next year. And he goes, and I feel like they're perfectly safe. And I so wanted to crawl through that phone and ask that guy, would you get on a commercial airliner that didn't have a pilot?
Yep.
That's what I wanted to ask
100%.
him. Because you're asking us to put our families on the road next to an 80,000-pound truck with no driver in it. So would you get on a commercial airliner?
I don't mind
pilot?
autonomous trucks, but I want a driver as a fail-safe.
Yep.
And then if you have a driver as a fail-safe, well, what's the point of having an autonomous truck?
There's no doubt that they're
Because
gonna,
then they ain't saving the money that they want to save by putting the driver out of work.
exactly. There's no doubt that they're going to have a spot in the industry. They already do. Something tragic's going to happen. You know
guaranteed.
That. Yeah,
And
one of these things is going to
it
get out, and
it ain't gonna change unless it hurts their family.
it's going to get out, and it's going to kill a busload of nuns or a busload of kids or something, and that'll slow it down a little bit.
Yeah.
That'll slow it down, but it's inevitable. It's going to happen.
Too much money's been invested in it.
Yep. Yeah, way too much money's been invested in that. And the
As
big,
much as you don't like it, it's here, guys. I mean, people keep telling me, you use that AI. Yeah, I use AI, guys. I do use AI. Do I like it? No, hell, if it was up to me, we'd go back to horse and buggies, but we're never going to do it.
Right. And that's something I told Sean. I said, to preserve a job in the trucking industry, you're going to have to do something that is going to require hands-on work.
100%.
I said, you're going to have to do something that and in our side of the industry and rock and roll and trade shows and stuff, there still has to be a lot of load securement and things that have to be done in the trailer. And it's like I do a lot of liftgate work, and when people come to me and ask about purchasing a liftgate because they see what some of the stuff pays, and I'm like, there's a couple things to think about here. Number one, if you're one of those guys that likes to back in a dock and wait for the little light to turn green, don't get a liftgate. Because you're literally going to touch every piece of freight you have on the trailer. There's going to be pads and straps and logistics and sometimes just all kinds of stuff that goes on with that load. I said, number two, there's a reason they need a liftgate. You're not going to a warehouse that has a dock. You may be going to somebody's house or their freaking boat ramp or who knows, I said, so, learn how to use the measuring tools on Google Maps, not for navigation, but so you can see what the hell you're getting into, you know? And, don't just.
Did you actually just tell people to use the map?
I was getting ready to tell, throw your GPS away because it will be rendered useless when you go some of these places that we go. Technology.
But at the end of the day, guys, personally, I love GPS. Back in the day, my map didn't tell me exactly where the mailbox was.
I don't run GPS, but I use.
What I like it is like in LA. Well, you already know most places you're going to, being in through.
Right. Yeah.
But I like being able to pull up a warehouse and you can see exactly where the tire marks are.
Well, and that's what I was talking about with Google Maps.
Yeah.
Now, I don't use.
That's what I'm talking about.
I don't use Google Maps for navigation.
No, I use it for You know what I use GPS for? It tells me how many miles I got left to my trip.
Right.
So I don't have to sit there and figure it.
Right.
And it tells me what my speed is versus my speedometer, so I can.
Right.
It gives me something else to look at to compare it to.
Right.
But other than that,
so
not really.
A lot of people don't know, but on Google Maps there's a measuring device. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So you can go on Google Maps, folks, and you can drop a pin, and then if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see where it says measure distance, and you can move your screen from where you drop that pin at, and it'll tell you how far it is. Now, where I use this a lot, because, with my tractor and trailer, I'm 85 feet long.
Uh-huh.
So I can be going into someplace, maybe I see their driveway or something, maybe they have a gate up. I'm going to be
See
rolling
if
in
you
at
can
2
fit
o'clock
within.
in the morning. I can drop a pin at that gate and see if I can get my big fat ass all the way down in that
Just
driveway.
enough to
or
stay
not.
off the
Yes,
sidewalk.
to get off the road, you know? So, yeah, that's really handy, too, when you go into someplace you want to see how wide the driveway
Yeah,
is.
that would
or,
come in.
you know, look at some of the turns you're making and stuff. So,
See, I got a little taste of the show stuff because I went and did some of the Kubota shows.
okay.
They're not some of the big shows you
Right.
did. But I tell you what, my hat's off to you guys pulling in that late at night and loading all that stuff up. And like I said, it like John said, it's a choreography. These guys come in there, everybody has a slot they have to come in at least with the Kubota show.
And it has to happen fast.
Yeah, and it had to happen fast.
Yep.
They had a staging area where they had us all sitting.
Yep. And you know, a lot of these, like when we're doing festivals, the dock that you're unloading on is made of truss and stage decking. So it's not fastened down to anything. It's just sitting there.
Oh wow.
So you got all these stagehands and everybody stand up on the dock. So when you're backing a guy up, you can't let him hit the dock, or else he's going to knock everybody over. So you're walking him down, and then you're like 3 feet, 2 feet, 1 feet. Now the automatic transmissions, worst thing ever, man. Trying to back a guy up.
Easy.
Yeah, trying to back a guy up with an automatic, it's damn hard, man. And we've had more than one instance where somebody has just smacked the shit out of the dock, man.
I know how hard I've hit docks.
Yes, and then everybody gets
on a rented truck.
Everybody gets knocked off their feet. And then all the stageheads, because you're the guy on the ground, they're all looking at you going, "Hey, dumbass, why'd you let him hit the dock?" Didn't try, man.
I got a rental truck one time. My truck was down, and they gave me one of those automatics.
Right.
Actually, I had the guy come out there and show me where the knob was to shift the damn thing. I didn't know how to shift it.
I did that in Dallas one night. We were doing a show at, I think it was the Hilton or something downtown, and I had I was lead on this one. I had like 5 guys with me, and the dock where we were loading in at, you couldn't stay hooked up because we were blocking the entire road. Right?
Yeah.
So we're out there, we're playing musical trucks, dropping trailers and shuffling tractors, and one of the guys' tractors was out, and it was a brand new Freightliner. He's parked out in the street, and he goes, "Hey man, the keys are in it. Go ahead and move it around." I've been driving the truck a long damn time. I get in this thing, and I'm like, there is nothing in this truck. The only thing I recognize in this truck is the red and yellow button on the dash. That's it, man. It looks like it's got a selector over here. There's
I felt like an idiot
a screen, and I had to call him up on the phone. I'm like, "How you get this thing in gear, man?" I was like, I'm clueless here.
I felt like an idiot.
And I look at all the trucks I've driven over the years of Hendricks and Internationals, GMCs.
I've never been to the point to where I didn't know what to do.
I've never gotten a truck and not been able to know how to get that thing going down the road.
It's gonna move.
But I jumped in this great piece of modern technology with an automatic transmission, and I'm freaking clueless. I'm like, okay, I got to call the guy that's been driving 7 months now to tell me how to move this thing. So,
yeah.
Oh shit! All right, well, guys, man, I hope you enjoyed hanging out with us tonight. I know we had a good time sitting here BSing. Hopefully, we didn't bore you too much. So, once again, guys,
if we did, blame John. His email's down at the bottom of the website.
Thanks for that, buddy. And he put it there. So, so guys, once again, I want to thank Trucker G. You know, this whole getting to know people through Tony Justice has probably been one of the highlights of my career, man, because I have met some of the greatest people out here.
I've met a lot of good people.
Yes. So, again, thank you, Tony Justice. G.
Hey, Tony, let's set it straight. Tony's okay. Misty, we love you.
Yeah, we love Misty. Yeah. And like I said, I heard Tony can sing. I don't know. Have you heard about that?
That's what they say.
That's what they say, yes. All right. Hey, guys, if you don't know who Tony Justice is, and you should, especially if you're a truck driver. He's got some great stuff out there. I haven't talked to Tony for a couple of days. I think I talked to him right before Misty's birthday. And I know they had a bunch of stuff planned out there.
He called me the other day.
Yeah, just a few days ago I talked to him. You did wish Misty happy birthday, didn't you?
I did not.
Oh, you're
I'm
in deep
trouble.
shit. You're in deep.
Happy birthday, Misty. I love you.
I got in trouble because I called, I think it was the day after Misty's birthday. I called Tony, or he called me. And I said, hey, tell Misty I said happy birthday. He goes, yeah, you're in the doghouse. And I go, why is that? He goes, because every year, 2 people always call Misty on her birthday. You and Van Brown.
Well, see, I'm good then. She didn't expect
And he
nothing
goes,
from me.
and neither one of you called yesterday. I'm like, oh shit, we are in trouble. so Misty, happy
Sucks to
birthday.
be you.
It sucks to be me. Sucks to be Van too. So. All right, well, G, man, I appreciate you coming on tonight and hanging out and taking me over to the house for a few minutes.
Definitely.
And we will see you next time around out here.
Yeah, love
All
you
right.
guys.
This episode of Backroads USA Podcast and Tour has been brought to you in part by Production Trans Management. They are your tour transportation specialists, powered by Landstar. When the show can't stop, neither can your transportation partner. At Production Transmanagement, a Landstar agent, TPO, they understand that every mile matters. With more than 10 years of experience as a Landstar agent, they built their reputation by delivering dependable professional transportation solutions for the entertainment production industries. They don't chase quantity, they prioritize quality. Their carefully selected fleet of experienced trucks and professional drivers is dedicated to ensuring your freight arrives safely, on time, and ready for the next stop. From concert tours and live productions to steel hauling and team driver expedited freight, they specialize in moving the loads that demand precision and reliability. They also provide transportation solutions for trade show exhibits, blanket wrap shipments, open deck freight, heavy haul and overweight loads, and other specialized commodities. No matter the cargo, their commitment remains the same: exceptional communication, experienced drivers, and transportation you can trust. When your business depends on flawless execution, partner with a team that understands the importance of every deadline. Production Transmanagement: experience, reliability, and performance on every mile.